All right, we are going to try a recording with my wonderful assistant right here, Maya. And yeah, we're going to see if we can make it all the way through and explain a little bit of what we're working through here. So, yeah, this is the deck that I'll be playing for the foreseeable future on Master Duel. It is a pet deck for sure. But yeah, we're playing a strategy called Gishki. So, for those who don't know, this is a ritual based strategy. So the whole goal is to basically tutor out these blue ritual cards by using ritual spells. So the spells require tributes to bring out the ritual that you can actually cheese quite a bit by tributing the opponent's monster, by paying a bunch of life points, or actually just doing a normal ritual summon by using the proper number of levels, which are the stars on the top here. So you have to make sure that you have, in this case, an exact match. So if I want to bring out a whale, I need 10 levels of monster, basically. Another whale. That's probably best case scenario. But yeah, anyways, besides the rough intro to the strategy, I figured I'll do card by card. It's a little unfortunate that I can't edit the order, so yeah, it'll be a little bit out of whack, but we're just going to go through the order that Master Duel has, and I'll explain each one. So, Nimble Mamanga. This is an old card, very fun. Not very good because it doesn't summon itself or really extend my plays at all. The biggest thing to note here, level 2, right? This guy is, basically what the whole deck revolves around, a bunch of level 2 monsters. And he has Nimble in his name, so therefore we play him. I had a number of Nimbles to pick from, and I just love this guy. He's so good. Look at this manga. He looks great. Anyways, next here we have the Gishki Abyss. And oh yeah, I'm only playing one of it because I don't need more than one copy. I just needed a different named Nimble, really. So that's why I'm playing it at one. Abyss is a fantastic card. It basically says anytime it's summoned, notice how it doesn't say normal or special, just summoned, add a Gishki monster with 1,000 or less defense from your deck to your hand, except itself, of course. So the rest of my Gishkis that I want to be searching here all have 1,000 or less defense. So he basically can grab any Gishki combo piece that I'm missing. And notably, he is not a once per turn effect. Some Yu-Gi-Oh cards say you can only use their effect once per turn. Gishki Abyss does not, which is fantastic, and we absolutely abuse that. The only thing to note here, besides his incredible effect, it does say when this card is summoned. Unfortunately, there is a difference in Yu-Gi-Oh! Between if and when effects. When means that it has to be basically the first activation in a sequence of activations in order to have its effect go off. So let's say if I was responding to an opponent and I basically have the ability to special summon this as not the first action, a chain link 2 or above, then this thing would then be summoned, but it could miss its timing. So because of that, it is a little bit unfortunate, but honestly, it very rarely comes up. There's an interaction with Elf, which I'll explain a little bit later. But yeah, this thing is incredible. We don't play it at 3 because we don't necessarily want to open this. The goal is to special summon this out of the deck with the actual opener, Grimness, which I'll get to in a second. Maxi, if you're playing Master Duel long enough, this is just mandatory. This is what the game revolves around on this format, and in the OCG, the Asian format of the game, there's kind of the American, European, TCG, there's the OCG, and then there's Master Duel. All three of those different versions of Yu-Gi-Oh! Have different forbidden and limited lists, and so, yeah, Maxi is allowed to be played at 3 copies per deck in this format, so you play it at 3 copies because it says anytime your opponent special summons, you draw. This deck special summons a lot. The majority of decks in Yu-Gi-Oh!, at least modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks, special summon a lot. So this card's a blowout. It could force your opponent to skip their turn, and so it's just incredible to have, and you have to play it. Alternatively, if you're playing the TCG, which is what you'd be playing in North America, Europe, and stuff, this card is banned. So huge difference in formats. It is not banned on Master Duel, and therefore you're playing it at 3. Not much more to say besides that. We have our vision here. So this is part of the Gishki ritual, like specifically the ritual part of it, of the engine here. And so basically it says this and a few other Gishkis have this incredible effect where basically you can ritual summon using this card as the entire tribute material. which is great. So, you know, needing 10 stars to bring out this guy gets a lot easier when you have these passive effects, right? Where you can use this guy. But his most important effect says you can discard this card, add a Gishki Ritual monster from your deck to your hand. Two things to note here. One, not a once per turn. We're absolutely abusing that. Two, it says discard this card, which means this card does not need to be sent to the graveyard. If you are under Dimension Shifter or some other continuous effect in Yu-Gi-Oh! That says banish all cards that would go to the graveyard, doesn't matter. You're not sending this to the graveyard, you're just discarding it. So this thing works, and it is absolutely a reason why I'm still playing this deck, because if I do get shifted, my turn is not necessarily over. I might have the ability to ritual summon. Nimblers, let's keep going, or Nimblers, Nimble Angler. Let's continue with our Nimble line here. Again, things to note here, level 2. This one is quite good. I still don't want to play more than one of it, because this is a very small package of the deck that is really just kind of considered an extender package. It just allows me to continue to special summon. So if this card is sent from hand or deck to the graveyard, special 2 Nimbles from the deck. There are very few instances in which I'm actually sending this from my hand to the graveyard. I guess, let's say if I ritual summon, I might. 9 times out of 10, this thing is just getting dumped from my deck off of Sprint, and I'll get to this card in a bit, but basically this just special summons 2 monsters, which is great. So absolutely an incredible advantage. This was played a lot in other Sprite variants. We're about to get to the Sprite cards in just a second, but yeah, fantastic little package. And then Beaver. The Mamanga would be a second Beaver, but unfortunately, as you can see this by this little 1 here, Beaver is set to 1. So, yeah, this is an incredible starter. If, let's say, I don't see Gishki Grimness or the Abyss, this is an absolutely fine card to normal summon. I'll bring out a level 3 or lower Nimble from the deck, which is either Mamanga or Angler. At this point, if you see one of these in your opening hand, one of these 3 Nimbles, you're not going to do the cool combo with Sprint anyways, but yeah. So for what it's worth, this is another starter in the deck. Great card. Love the Beaver. Look at him grabbing those little sticks. So cool. Do kind of wish this was at 2, but I understand why you're only allowed 1 copy. Speaking of cards at 2 per deck, let's take a look at our sprites. These incredibly powerful level 2s are kind of what the other half of the deck I would consider this. This is definitely a Gishki deck, but if I had to call it by its true name, it's a Gishki Spright deck, because these sprites are everywhere in this deck, and they absolutely make the deck go round. A pure Gishki variant, I don't think is actually the correct way to play this. You're going to get stopped by your opponent through any number of points of interaction, and so because of that, these guys really allow you to push through that and just generate a ton of advantage while you're comboing off. They also make your turn go longer, because that's how comboing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Works. Anyways, 2 copies per deck. These are incredible. I'd play 3 if I was allowed. If you control a level or rank 2 monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Great. So it's an extender. If I have any level, rank, or rank 2 monster. So yes, these black XYZ cards, most of them with the 2 stars, that means there's a rank. Difference between levels and ranks, you stack them, and the ones that have the same levels will go into the corresponding XYZ. That was a terrible description of the XYZ summoning mechanic. Simo's videos have a much better thing. I'll try to link that in the comments below. But yeah, so anyways, these guys are incredible. They extend, but blue, in addition to doing that, grabs you another sprite. If it's special summoned, add another sprite monster from your deck to your hand, which is great. Jet, again, I'd be playing 2. I probably would only play 2 of this guy if I was allowed, but yeah, the sprites have very understandably been hit on the limited list because they're that good. But yeah, Jet's incredible. It says the same thing as blue, level or rank 2 monster, special summon this card. If special summoned, rather than adding a monster, you add a sprite, spell, or trap. We've got some pretty good ones down here that we'll get into in a sec. Pixies is kind of cute. This is definitely not standard for sprite decks, but it is cool. It's same clause, right? Level or rank 2 special summon, so it's another free body. But then it's also a hand trap, kind of. During damage calc, level, rank, or link 2 battles that you control, you can send this from your hand or field to the graveyard. That monster gains attack/defense equal to the opponent's monster's attack. So it's battle protection. You can kill things with your level 2s. All of a sudden become stronger with this in your hand. There's actually quite a few 1-turn kill lines by playing Pixies. So yeah, it's the same reason my deck is kind of at 44 right now. I want a lot of gas in here. I also have a couple bricks. And so this is absolutely not a brick. This is just more gas. So brick just meaning a card you don't want to draw your starting turn. Red and carrot, these are kind of the standard Sprite cards that you see for the negation part of the engine. Red says you contribute a level, rank, or link to. Clause is, if you have a level or link to monster, you can special summon it. So great. It's an extender, which I definitely sometimes just have to use it for if I need to combo off. But if I have my druthers, I am ending my turn with this guy on the field. And he says you contribute a level, rank, or link to monster as a quick effect. So, during yours or your opponent's turn. And negate that monster effect. So if your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, tribute a level, rank, or link to monster, negate that effect. Incredible. Then if you did a rank or link to, you can destroy it. But yeah, anyways. So this negates monster effects, notably, and this negates spell and trap cards. Same exact thing as red, except just for spells and traps. So yeah, really, really adds some teeth to my first turn plays. They're extenders. The Sprite engine's incredible. Absolutely right at home in the Gishki strategy. And then this is probably the best card in the deck. This is Gishki Grimness. It's just incredible. Besides just having just totally awesome art. This thing is basically in Yu-Gi-Oh! What you call a tour guide. It's very similar to Tour Guide of the Underworld, where basically when you normal or special summon this card, you can special summon another Gishki monster from your deck except Grimness. And that's just incredible. That means you have 2 level 2s on the field, in which case you can just jump into your extra deck and just pop off, basically. So every time you're bringing this guy out, as you're starting your play with your normal summon, you'll go ahead and bring out the Abyss, which is great. And then the Abyss just grabs another card. So you can see how this engine quickly snowballs here. And this is really what gets your party started. So yeah, absolutely, we're running this at 3 per deck. The biggest drawback to this, and I think what kind of balances this out and it really comes up, is his drawback, where it says you get to special summon the Gishki from the deck. Also, you can only declare attacks with ritual monsters until the end of this turn. Which means that I'm only playing 2 rituals, so the most I can do to my opponent in terms of battle damage is 6,000. There are 8,000 life points in the game, so yeah, unfortunately, this definitely does handicap the strategy a little bit for its kill potential. But, this deck loves to go first. So going first, absolutely not a problem. Going second, you'll have to consider if you want to play this, because there are definitely lines in this strategy that do not require you to use Grimness to kill your opponent in 1 turn. So yeah, Grimness is incredible. We're absolutely playing at 3. Ash Blossom, very similar to Max C. This card is everywhere, except it's also legal in the TCG version. And yeah, this stops a lot. If your opponent wants to add a card from deck to the hand, special summon, or send a card from deck to the graveyard, which so many effects in this game do, you can discard this card to negate that effect. The main reason I'm playing Ash, though, is because, yeah, Max C is at 3. Anytime, in my opinion, you have Max C at 3, you're probably going to see Ash Blossom at 3. They're just arch nemesis, I guess. Yeah, anyways, playing 3 of that. And this is the last part of the Gishki engine before we get to the big boss himself and then the spells. I know, it's getting exciting. Don't you like the shadow? So yeah, this is just kind of the other half. If the vision is kind of what gets you to your ritual monsters, this just gets you to your ritual spells. Not once per turn, can be used as the whole requirement. Has some slightly different stats, but besides that, is basically the same card as vision. So yeah, Shadow and Vision, incredible. This deck does hard lose to Droll and Lockbird, the hand trap that prevents cards from being added from the main deck to the hand. So yeah, you just hard lose to that. But besides that, you're pretty much chilling against most things. You can play through a lot. This Nibiru, incredible. We love the Big Rock. This is just a hand trap through and through. One of the best. I could even bump this up. I like having it at 1 for right now. Basically, my goal is if my opponent decides to disrespect Max C when I drop it on them, and they'll just special summon a bunch, eventually I'm going to draw into Nibiru, and Nibiru can stop a lot of boards from being built, because your opponent summons 5 more times, and you're tributing everything that's face up, bringing down the rock, and then you give them the token of the combined attack and defense of everything that was tributed. Incredible interruption, and yeah, this is just kind of the one-up for the Max C. This also goes really well with them. And then here's the boss himself. This is the Nermanos, the whale, the big whale. Yeah, this is the new Gishki ritual. It's fantastic. I love it. It kind of does it all. This is why I'm playing Gishki in the first place, because of Grimness and this guy. So yeah, let's read this effect, because this thing's incredible. Ritual summon it with any Gishki ritual. If ritual summoned, you can target a water in your graveyard. Any water. Special summon it. Cannot be destroyed by battle while a monster that is special summoned from the with a monster special summoned from the extra deck. This doesn't come up as much, but honestly, it is kind of nice to just have a little bit of extra protection there. Especially because its stats are, while huge for Yu-Gi-Oh! 3,000 is incredible. It's a blue eyes white dragon. Lots of other things unfortunately have 3,000, and there are some monsters that definitely have more attacks. So a little bit of battle protection is definitely a good thing there. But yes, this is the main effect here. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can return one Gishki ritual monster you control to the hand, probably this thing, and if you do, negate the activation, and if you do, shuffle it into the deck. This is good for a number of reasons. The once per turn here, notice how it doesn't say this card's name while it says once per turn. This means that I'm allowed to use multiple copies of this once per turn. If I have 2 whales on the field, each of them can use their effect once per turn, which is just incredible. And so, not to mention, so that this is soft once per turn, so I'm ending my turn usually with 2 of these things, and that's just 2 monster negates. But the fact that it shuffles into the deck completely eliminates whatever resource your opponent's using. If they are, sometimes if you destroy or you banish a card, when you're negating the activation, sometimes the opponent can still access that card, but it is much harder to do so if you're shuffling it into the deck. It means that they're going to have to go back into their deck to try to find it by either drawing or searching for it. So yeah, this card is incredible. Absolutely love it. Yeah, we're running it at 2. I don't think playing 3 is correct. There are a lot of finicky ratios with this deck, and it does brick sometimes. So you really want to maximize your starters, and for your combo pieces that are great, I don't think there's a world in which I would want to end with 3 whales, so I think playing it at 2 is correct, but let me know if you think otherwise. Then we'll go to some of the defensive cards here. Lightning Storm, this is kind of just generic, hits everything. If I don't have any face-up cards, so basically if I'm going second, I can either destroy all attack position monsters or destroy all spell and traps. Pretty solid. Yep, I run it at 2. I think it's fine. I like having it at 2. Same with talents, or triple tactics talent. This is just an incredible, your opponent activates a monster effect during the main phase, which is, basically how most interactions of monster effects happen. You get to draw 2 cards, take a card out of your opponent's hand, or take control of one monster. It's just so good. Yeah, I might play this at 3, depending. It really depends on what my opponents are playing. If I'm playing a lot of back row strategies, spell and trap based strategies, this actually isn't a very good card. So these two kind of, round each other out a little bit. We'll definitely tweak this, especially as we climb up through the different tiers of rankings in this ranked ladder we're about to climb. But yeah, then we've got a great consistency card, Pot of Prosperity. I'd play this at 3 if I could. Banish 3 to 6 cards from your extra deck face down. Your opponent takes, for the rest of this turn, any damage your opponent takes is halved. Also, you can excavate cards from the... Okay, basically what this says is you'll banish either 3 or 6 extra deck cards and then excavate, so flip face up that many cards on the top of your deck, and then pick one of them, put the other cards back to the bottom in any order, and then you can't draw cards for the rest of the turn. This deck, if you have noticed, doesn't actually draw besides Max C. It's actually searching, so this does not hurt me at all. There's plenty of things I can get rid of in the extra deck anyways, so that really plays nicely too. So yeah, this is great consistency. If I don't see one of my starters, I'll probably just use this. I could also, use this card to bait an Ash Blossom. Yeah, love Prosperity in this strategy. I think it works really well. And then this another card that is just fantastic for consistency. Aquamirror, relatively new as well, just adds a Gishki monster deck to hand. No once per turn on that add effect. And then in the end phase, if I control a ritual monster, a water ritual, which is basically this guy, I can set an Aquamirror spell or trap, which the only thing that fits the bill is the actual ritual spell. There is a trap that you could use as well. It's kind of win more, so I'm not playing it right now. But yeah, this is incredible. It's basically 3 copies of any other Gishki in the strategy, and if I open multiples, I can use multiple. Really, really love this card. Great consistency. Another one of the main reasons why I'm playing this deck. And then, yeah, we've got 3 ritual spells here. 2 of them are actually good, and then this is terrible, but we kind of have to play it. So I'll explain them all. This is the main one, Aquamirror, used to summon a Gishki ritual. Tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total levels exactly equal the level of the ritual monster. So we've got to equal 10 here. And, yeah, you'll use that to ritual summon. Notice how it doesn't say pay any life point cost. And then its second effect is great, too. Let's see, it says, you can shuffle this card from the graveyard into the deck, then target one Gishki ritual monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So basically, if I have a way of sending this ritual monster and ritual summoning, so putting both of these in the grave, this shuffles itself back into the deck and puts the ritual monster back in my hand. You'll see through some of the gameplay, if you haven't already, this absolutely is incredible. It allows you to basically keep extending and basically turbo out two of these bad boys. So great spell all in all. And then we have the ones that pay life points. This is the crazy one. It's a brick, but you know, if you only open Grimness, you need to be able to do a full combo. And you actually do have to play this card if you don't have any other Gishki cards and you want to do the full thing. So basically, this circumvents the whole level requirement by just paying life points. It's 500 times the level, which means 5,000 life. That's a lot. Out of 8,000, you're paying more than half. It is worth it, I will say. If you don't have any other plays, you need to set up a good board, and this card will get you there. So this is the one card that is absolutely a brick. You don't normally want to draw it, and you only use it if you absolutely have to. But there are circumstances. It does come up, unfortunately. So we do play the Photo Mirror, and then this one is very interesting. Ritual Gishki Summon, it's a ritual spell. But you must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal the exact level, or tribute one face-up monster your opponent controls. And because it says, or just tribute one face-up monster, notice how it doesn't say anything about the levels. I can tribute any face-up monster my opponent has as the entire ritual requirement for bringing out this whale. So this thing, it does make you pay life points, by the way. You will then lose life points equal to the original attack of the ritual monster. So you'll lose 3,000 because this thing has 3,000 attack. So it's still a steep cost, but if you're playing this going second, you can break boards with this. You can remove your opponent's problem monsters with a spell card that is just trying to ritual summon. So before you even bring out your monster negate here, you can already remove one of the problem children that your opponent generates for you. Really, really solid ritual spell. It also has a recursion ability. If it's in the graveyard, you can target a Gishki monster in your graveyard, place that on the top of your deck, and then place this on the bottom. So you can activate this at the end of your turn if you really don't have any other gas. This can set up your next draw. It doesn't come up very often, I will say that. However, putting itself back into the deck is great, because if you have more gas while you're still playing, you can, theoretically, since you're only paying 3,000 life points, you can get rid of two of your opponent's face-up monsters for the low cost of 6,000 life points. All right, rounding it out here, we've got two Call by the Grave. This mostly just stops hand traps like Maxi and Ash Blossom, but it really does just hit anything in the graveyard. Target one monster, opponent's graveyard, banish it. If you do until the end of the next turn, its effects are negated. Incredible card. Love having this at 2. If I open Gishki Grimness plus, Call by the Grave, I just feel so safe. So really great defensive card. Does also hit some monsters too, just as like a going first card. Like you can just set this going first, and sometimes it's a great interruption. And then we'll get to our Sprite spell and traps here. Notice how, similar to Call by the Grave, they're all quick play spells. It means I can set them and use them on my opponent's turn, which is incredible. So this one summons a Sprite from the deck, and I lose life points equal to its attack. So this basically just turns the whole Sprite engine on, or if I'm already going through my Sprites, this can just get me more Sprites. So it just continues to grab you bodies. You can also summon on your opponent's turn. It does lock you, though, into level rank or link 2 monsters. So you're definitely using this after you've already brought out your whales. Or if you really don't have any plays, you just start this and you're just doing a Sprite a Sprite combo at that point. And then this is your main interruption for Spell and Trap. This one, the only relevant effect is the last one, because we're not playing Spriggans with Therions. But it says you banish a Sprite card from your hand or graveyard, probably the graveyard, after I've done some comboing, and then I can banish a level rank or link 2 monster I control, and 1 card my opponent controls. Just removal. Really, really nice. So yeah, this is the Sprite lineup here, rounding it out. And then we just have 1 infinite impermanence. It's just like an extra... Ooh, what's that? You had a little tummy thing, huh? All right. I know, infinite impermanence is a kind of a crazy card. So I agree, Maya. So yeah, no, this is just a trap that you can use on your opponent's turn to negate a face-up monster. You can also set it on your turn and turn off a column and negate other spells and traps in that column, which is just great. So yeah, we just got that at 1. This is kind of a flex spot. I like it at 1. It comes up every now and then. I don't know. It could get changed, especially as we climb the ranks, and we need to adapt our deck to whatever we're facing. Let's now round it out here for our extra deck. This is pretty tight, but there are definitely some things that you can give up for Pot of Prosperity if you need to dig deeper into your deck. This one's great. This is an XYZ that allows you to detach a card and then target a monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, and then shuffle one card from your hand into the deck. This basically can just be an extra copy of Vision or Shadow when it's in the grave, so I'll definitely use it as an extender. This is kind of a standard Gishki. If you're playing this version of Gishki, you're absolutely playing Pure Light. And then we have Gym Buster. This is just another monster negate. We're typically making this with our sprites, the dark ones in particular, because it does take 2 level 2 darks. And then, yeah, it can burn your opponent for 500 as well, in addition to negating a monster effect. Really, really nice. Then we have our Soul Sweeper here. This is kind of what helps us break our opponent's boards. You can detach one material from this card, then target a monster your opponent controls, banish it until the opponent's end phase. So you're basically banishing it, and then ideally you're trying to deal with you're trying to kill your opponent at that point, or just really, really slow him down. Hi. Hello. All right, and then it actually does have another effect where if it's destroyed, you can target banished monsters up to the number of materials described, shuffle them into the deck. Not that it really comes up, but yeah, it's kind of like its secret effect. Then we've got a double gigantic. This is a huge combo starter extender. This thing is incredible. This is what makes the sprite strategy go around, in addition to Elf. We'll get there in a second. But yeah, this basically says, you can detach one material, and then from a monster you control. So if you have a bunch of XYZs, it can detach from those as well. Special summon a level 2 monster from your deck. It does lock you, similar to the starter, into level, rank, and link 2s. So again, you're going into your gigantic sprite after you have brought out your whales and stuff. Zeus, I don't really go into this guy as much as I should, but this is a giant board wipe. You stack this guy on top of an XYZ if one of them battled, and then it says you can detach 2 materials from this card, send all other cards on the field to the graveyard. Incredible board wipe, great stats. It has a secret effect too, where if another card I control is destroyed, besides itself, of course, battle or card effect, I can attach one card from hand, deck, or extra deck, which is kind of nice. I think if I had to pick one thing I would want to attach, I mean, it could be a Gishki piece that I could then use in the graveyard, like maybe one of these ritual spells or something, but it really depends. It never comes up because I almost never make Zeus. Phoenix, I could swap this out. It just destroys spells and traps. If it's co-linked, meaning its arrows point to another linked monster, and that monster then points to it. It can draw a card. It might turn into the third elf, but I kind of like it right now. IP, this is just another interruption. I can link someone on my opponent's turn. And then elf, oh my god, this card, I understand why we're not allowed to have this in the TCG, because it's so generic and it's so good. I know, don't you just love Sprite Elf? It's just the best. Just the best. Yeah, it really is. So yeah, this thing, super easy to make, and it's targeting protection, for the 2 things that it's pointing to down there. And then during the main phase, I can target a level 2 monster I control, or a rank or link to if my opponent has one, and special summon it. So the fact is, I can just abuse Abyss and summon it out again. You need this card to make this Gishki strategy actually viable. I have played this in the TCG without Elf, and it just hurts. It's so bad. It's not unplayable, but you don't have any 1-card starters anymore, which is just sad. Again, I understand this card is broken. It probably shouldn't be allowed, but in a wacky format like Master Duel, I think this guy's right at home, makes this strategy viable, and yeah, is honestly one of the main reasons why I'm still playing it. It's just a great card. Love playing it. Love Elf. All right, now we got early. This one's just kind of cute, actually. It's monster negation that can turn its attack points to 0, and it can bring itself back. Really solid, especially if I'm locked into Link 2s. It's kind of like 1 extra monster negate I can make if I really want. Sprint, this is my big extender. Really, really nice for just turboing out level 2 bodies. I'm always using this to go into my Nimble engine, and you basically just dump Angler off of, when you make the sprint, it says, when it's link summon, you can send 1 level 2 monster from your deck to the graveyard. incredible. You know, it starts the angler effect. You're only allowed to use one. This is a hard once per turn for Sprin because it has 2 effects, but you can only use one of them once per turn. So I'm either dumping a level 2 from deck to grave, or if another monster is special summoned while this is on the field, I can detach a material from an XYZ I control, target a monster on the field, return it to the hand. So it bounces a monster back to the hand or extra deck. And yeah, one more interruption that I could keep up theoretically as well. Usually I'm then using this as material to go into Sprite, or Gigantic Sprite, but you know, it's there. It's a royal rare. It's fun. And then we have Unicorn. We're just making this off of IP most times, or if I'm breaking an opponent's board, you know, I might go through this before I go into my access code. Yeah, it spins a card back. Very, very common card in today's meta. Same as Appaloosa. This is your big monster negate lady. You're probably making this on your opponent's turn with IP. And this is just if you need more monster negates. This is your way to go. Just as many materials. It gains 800 attack for each. And then you're losing attack to negate your opponent's monster effects. Incredible. And then this is the big finisher guy, access code. He gets really big. You're probably pumping him up to 5,300 because he's gaining 1,000 times the link rating of one of its materials. Probably just using Unicorn to link into it. So yeah, it's going to gain 3,000 attack and then destroy cards by banishing link monsters. It's just incredible. This is your big finisher. Just kind of raises the kill ceiling of this deck to a whole nother level. So yeah, anyways, thanks for listening through this Gishki little deck profile here. I'm having a lot of fun with this strategy, and yeah, we'll probably continue to tweak this as we go, but this is kind of where we're going to start for at least Platinum. I think we got a great shot here. All right, let's see how we do.